No matter the extent of INEC's preparedness, therefore, if the security of personnel, voters, election observers, and election materials cannot be guaranteed, the life of innocent young men and women, as well as prospects for free, fair, credible, and peaceful elections would be greatly jeopardized. Consequently, the Commission has decided to reschedule the 2015 general elections thus. The national elections, i.e. Presidential and National Assembly, are now to hold on March 28, 2015, while the state elections, governorship and state assembly, are to hold on April 11, 2015. It should be noted that this rescheduling falls within the constitutional framework for the conduct of the elections, notably Section 76, subsection 2, Section 116, subsection 2, Section 132, subsection 2, and Section 178, subsection 2.
So there you have the chairman of the commission citing several sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended and the Electoral Act 2010 also as amended, saying we have acted within the confines of the law. But that notwithstanding, the comments continue to make the rounds. So we'll focus today on those matters. I'm going to go ahead and go on to our guest. As a matter of fact, Mr. Jerry Chukwueke has since joined us. He is of the PDP's Presidential Campaign Council on Contact and Mobilization. Thank you for coming on this evening.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Happy to be here.
Let's start off with the preparations of these elections by the Commission. From your perspective, ever since that announcement happened, what's your assessment of the preparedness of the Commission, first and foremost, for these elections?
Well, I think it's clear now, and I believe most Nigerians would agree with this point, that even though INEC thought it was ready, that it wasn't indeed ready for the elections for the 14th of February. All the things we see today, and I believe strongly, we all now have an opportunity to take a deep breath and say, okay, we have the opportunity now. Let INEC fine-tune itself. We've seen the numbers now in terms of distribution of PVCs. We also have an opportunity for the security forces to sort out the situation in the Northeast. So there'll be proper elections and our people will get a chance to vote. So when you look at all of that, I think there's been a lot of flogging on the business of whether or not INEC was ready. We know INEC wasn't ready. Now they have the chance to really get ready, and let's get on with the elections.
Let's get to Senator Lauren Mamora, who joins us from our studios in Abuja. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Well, we just heard from the PDP saying they know that it's clear that INEC was not ready, but your party has spoken up about this. Did anything change about the opinion of your party on the readiness of the Commission?
Thank you very much, Chairman. I still maintain my own, and I believe the stand of our party as well, that the postponement of the election was not, and I think Professor Jerry Ghana, INEC chairman, made that clear, was not at the instance of INEC. Rather, he reiterated that INEC was ready. And don't forget that we are not talking of perfection here. We are talking of substantial compliance. And INEC made it clear that it was ready, but that it could not afford to ignore the security report forwarded to him. So the postponement was not at the instance of INEC. Yes, given more time, we have seen, well, of course, more people collecting their PVCs. It's quite all right, but I can assure you that even if you were to give eternity, some people will not collect their PVCs. So what I'm saying is the postponement was not at the instance of INEC. Rather, it was at the instance of the security and as far as I'm concerned, has engineered to achieve the purpose. And so it's a fait accompli, and no problem, we move ahead.
All right, let me get in Ademola Oshodi, who is a policy analyst, also a data and information analyst. You've gone through some of these materials. You study the preparedness of the commission, how they go about deploying logistics for not just this elections, even the previous elections. What did you see, or what have you seen as we speak?
Well, thank you. What I've seen is INEC basically trying to improve on the last two elections, especially 2007 election and also the 2011 election. The permanent voters card is something very new to Nigeria. It's actually a permanent card that you can use in elections for the next, for a long period of time. It's a permanent voter registration card, unlike any other card we've had in Nigeria or even in parts of West Africa. Now, it's supposed to be foolproof. It's supposed to be, if its technology works at that moment, it would basically authenticate that voter and ensure his voting counts and it's not rigged. I mean, at least on that voting poll, that poll day. So I've seen a lot of that happening. It's mass awareness around the country, and a lot of people are getting involved. Late registration, some problems with INEC logistics getting in the way. But overall, what we need to see as Nigerians is the fact that efforts have been taken to ensure the election is as foolproof as possible. Now, we can never get it perfect. We can never get it perfect. But the key is we will reduce election litigation at the end. We will reduce violence, and we will also reduce areas of of uncertainty, because this is supposed to be an improvement on what we've done before. And I'm sure that's what we're going to see at the end.
All right, Mr. Chukwueke, I mean, now the Commission, they're going on with the activities, preparations for these elections. What have you seen now to perhaps lend credence to your perspective that the Commission was not ready? If they had conducted elections at that time and with the new date, what difference would they have made?
Well, they clearly would have disenfranchised some 35% of the voters of this country. Nigerians want to vote, particularly in this election. Look, I think we can move forward with the whole argument as to whether or not INEC was ready. Because we know, even as of today, there are about 77% distribution of PVCs. My view is that we still need to get about 95 zone. So we give Nigerians 95%? A chance. Yes, listen, the reason is that you have to separate the two arguments, voter participation and the ability to make voters effective voters. It's only when they have PVCs they can be effective voters. So we need to get the PVCs out to them. And I keep running some few examples. If you take the roughly 700 and some change local government in Nigeria, and you take an average of, say, 11 wards per local government, you can hire ad hoc staff for the next 4 weeks, and we have enough time because those local ad hoc staff know where residents live in their locales. We can get more cards out. We want those cards out. But let's be clear. I think that the opportunity indeed presents all parties, INEC, the respective political parties, the opportunity to fine-tune, and that's what's going on now. And the argument is, in my view, that we now need to look and see what opportunities we indeed have gotten out of this postponement. Security is better, clearly so, because this president is routing Boko Haram.
All right, we'll come to that in the course of the program today, but let me get Senator Mamora's view on the 95% suggestion of PVC distribution. Mr. Chukwueke here of the PDP says we need about 95%. Does that fall within the category for you as substantial compliance?
You don't need 95%. You don't. You don't. You see, if you can get 85, that is substantial compliance. And I still claim the fact that nobody should attempt to whip more than to be whipped. INEC is an election management body. It has been saddled with that responsibility of conducting elections. And of course, Professor Jega made it clear that within the realm of issues that they can deal with in their capacity, INEC was ready as at that time. But that security issues being raised, he could not afford to ignore. So, but having said that, I did say earlier on, which the analysts there did agree with, that we are not talking of perfection and substantial compliance, even before the court. This is what the court would look at. Has there been substantial compliance or not? Yes, the window of opportunity is there now to, I want as many people as possible to obtain their PVCs, but I'm still repeating that even if you give till eternity, some people will not collect. Number two is to say that what is the guarantee that the PVCs there that we have all over the place are genuine? How are we sure that these figures have not been over-bloated? And you could still have PVCs that will never be collected because in the first instance they were not real. So we are not talking of perfection here, but we must give INEC that duty as conferred by the Constitution, that it is the election management body, and in the performance of its duties, it shall not be subject to the directive of any person or any other organization or agency. So it's supposed to be independent, it's supposed to be impartial, it's supposed to act within the confines of law as conferred on it by the Constitution.
All right, Demola, I'll come to you in a moment, but we need to get over to our correspondent, Yemi Kosoko. He joins us from Jos, and he's also going to tell us how are they carrying on preparations ahead of the big day for the general elections. We spoke to him earlier. Here's what he says.
Thank you. Well, the PVC issue on the plateau is still something that a lot of people are talking about. The main issue is that the PVC, those that are available, some of the citizens are unable to access them. In view of this, there is a passionate appeal to religious, political, community, as well as other concerned citizens to appeal to the people to come out and seek for their PVC at their various polling units. Particularly of concern is the religious and community leaders, which the appeal is being made that they should appeal to their congregations and during various services in the mosque and in the churches. And away from the PVC issue, the two main political parties, talking about the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, are still embarking on their campaign. While the PDP is now on what is a door-to-door campaign, the APC is right now in the Jos East local government area where they are campaigning to the people to tell them what they have in stock for Plateau people. Back to you in Lagos.
Well, so the political parties keep the ball rolling. We will do the same here ourselves, but we'll be back after this break. Join us again.